Hey, thanks for stopping by. John Steigerwald now and then. We're going to try this YouTube thing for all 27 people who are out there. I'm finding out that people on Twitter don't have a long attention span. And so I've been doing these 1 minute things, which I'm going to continue to do. But I've been advised to try to get people on Twitter to come over to YouTube to look for some of the more long form stuff. I think I got some pretty good stuff here. And, I'll be happy to start out with 32 people stopping by to watch this, but I hope it picks up. But whoever you are, thanks for watching this. Meanwhile, leave it to the stupid, mostly stupid, or way too many stupid people in the way too liberal sports media. Leave it for somebody from there to come up with a stupid question for Pat McAfee yesterday when he had one of the managers for the All Star game sitting next to him, and some idiot had to ask this stupid question.
There is a law on the books here in Atlanta that is a voter suppression law that Joe Biden has called Jim Crow of the 21st century. Dave, in 2021, in the MLB Network special, you said it's about being relentless with our voices and speaking up, and this is not an isolated moment, and it needs to be something talked about on an ongoing basis and being relentless with it. What happened to being relentless with our voices, and why are we in Atlanta when this law is still on the books? And it is a dangerous situation to be a journalist in Atlanta because Atlanta has detained the most journalists by ICE.
I believe the question was a political question about laws that are on the books and everything like that. And the All-Star game was taken out, now it's brought back. Interesting. I don't know if any of us are the experts or the ones that should be giving answers on that, but respect and appreciate the way you feel about it. And I would assume that there was a reason or some conversation that was had by the MLB and the state that all parties thought that this would be a wonderful host city for the All-Star game. And I think everybody is all very excited to be back in the beautiful city of Atlanta.
Well, McAfee did a good job of not answering the question. It was a stupid question. For a lot of reasons. One, it was the wrong time for it, but also because that question has kind of been answered. It was stupid for Major League Baseball to pull the game out of Atlanta in the first place, and there were people running around. Joe Biden even might have been one of the people saying it was this law that they passed in 2021 was Jim Crow on steroids, and they said it was a terrible law that was going to prevent mostly minorities from being able to vote. And here, this guy, David Manny, writing at PJ Media, he says, remember the lies they told. Newsreaders on MSNBC and CNN warned us that the sky was falling because voter suppression was imminent. This new Georgia law, they claimed, again without proof, would disenfranchise black voters disproportionately by restricting early voting, limiting drop boxes, and requiring voter ID, something framed as a modern day poll tax, okay? And of course, that is a typical racist response to the law because it suggests that black people aren't smart enough to have ID. That's pretty much what it says. And it's offensive to black people. It should be, anyway. So here's what actually happened. Manny points this out in his story. This is now after the law had been passed, and everybody said it was Jim Crow on steroids. This is what happened in the 2022 primary. Early voting surged by 212% compared to 2018. Did you get that? Turnout among black voters not only matched, but in some counties surpassed previous years. According to a University of Georgia survey, 99% of voters reported having no problem voting. Even liberal polling outfits struggled to reconcile the numbers with the narrative that they had pushed. So you have everybody being proven wrong. No apologies from any of the Democrats for having done it or for having cost the people of Atlanta and Georgia millions and millions of dollars by pulling the All-Star game out in 2021. But you have this idiot, who I don't know who it was, this idiot woman who asked a stupid question at the press conference. They're still asking the question as though what I just pointed out to you 212% early voting surge in early voting and all the other stuff, and the fact that the turnout was better than it had been in years, they don't even want to hear about that. That's the story they want to tell is that the racist people of Georgia wanted to keep black people from voting. And that's not what happened. And still, this idiot who asked the question, and I looked around and other places, I think it was Awful Announcing, put up a tweet referring to it as a suppressive voter law that was passed in 2021. It was proven not to be suppressive. And it's the media's job to, follow up on that. Like, it's one thing for the media to portray it as a Jim Crow on steroids, which they did. That's fine if they want to do that. Maybe they thought that it was true, and maybe they thought it was based on facts that they had dug up. But we had an election since then, and they were all proven wrong. And here we are 4 years later. The All-Star game is back in Atlanta, and they can't let it go. And they're absolutely insane, and not only insane, but even a little bit corrupt as journalists. They're supposed to be better than that. And that was just one question, which represented a lot of people in the media. Because as I said, I did look around and I saw a lot of it, the same kind of stupidity. So that's where we are in Atlanta. The too liberal, and I mean the TOO liberal sports media strikes again. They are so clueless when it comes to politics. They really ought to just stay out of it. So that's that. So I thought since I'm hoping that you have a long attention span compared to the people on Twitter, and I'm doing this thing here on YouTube, hoping to get people to stick around and watch things and find some interesting stuff, maybe have a little fun. So I'm old. Shut up, but I'm old, and I've pretty much established that. But I remember when there were 2 All-Star games. Do you know that they once had 2 All-Star games in a season? They actually did it, I think it was 4 times, 1959 to 1962. And I was 10 years old during the All-Star game in 1959. There were 2 of them, and one of them was in Pittsburgh, and it looked something like this.
35,000 fans pack Forbes Field for the All-Star Classic. It's deadlocked at 1-1 going into the bottom of the 7th with Ernie Banks coming to bat for the Nats. A long double off the left field screen to put Banks in scoring position. And
now here's a little something for you on that little clip right there. I'm going to show you more here, but Ernie Banks hit that ball off the cage around the light tower in left field, and this is a good lesson for everybody. It's also a great chance to see the beautiful Forbes Field, which is better than Wrigley Field and nicer than Wrigley Field in Fenway Park. But that's another issue. Ernie Banks hit that ball off the tower, off the cage around the tower in left field, and Ernie Banks hit 500 home runs in Wrigley Field, over 500 playing at Wrigley Field his whole career. There's an example when people talk about Roberto Clemente and look at his home run numbers. You see that ball that Ernie Banks hit there that was it ended up being a double. It's a home run at Wrigley Field. It's gone. It's over the fence. It's a home run. And so that's the ballpark that Roberto Clemente had to play in, and that's why he only had 280 home runs and Ernie Banks had 500, because if Ernie Banks had played in Forbes Field, he wouldn't have hit more than 300 home runs, and if Roberto Clemente had played in Wrigley Field, he'd have had somewhere between 450 and 500.
Two out when Milwaukee's Del Crandall comes up. He singles, and Banks races home with the score. The senior circuit leads 2-1. Pirates' Bill Mazeroski driving a long one to left field, and Crandall scores, stretching the Nats' lead to 2 runs. Top in the 8th, Nellie Fox of the White Sox raps out a single for the Americans.
That's Elroy Face, by the way, pitching for the National League, and it was a tough game for Elroy. He got knocked around. He gave up 3 runs in a third of an inning. He was beat up a little bit, and a tough day for him because, well, he was playing in Forbes Field.
For the Americans. With Kuhn on first, Fox on second, Vic Powers singles to bring in Fox. 3-2 is the score. Another walk loads the bases, and the Orioles' Gus Triendos is up. He smashes a double to score Power and Kuhn. The American Leaguers move ahead 4-3. In the bottom of the 8th, the Cards' Ken Boyer singles to center. A sacrifice by Dick Grote brings up slugging Hank Aaron for his second hit of the day to send Boyer in and to tie up the ball game again. Next, Willie Mays. A tremendous 436-foot triple off the center field wall for the Say-Hey Kid.
Did you hear that? Did you see that? 436 feet he hit that ball to right center field. An unbelievable shot for a right-handed hitter. And if he's doing that in any other ballpark, just about any other ballpark in Major League Baseball, it's a home run. Again, that's where Clemente played for almost his entire career. To be able, and he had the power to go there, to go that far to right center field and not get a home run. That's what he dealt with his entire career.
Aaron crosses the plate with the tiebreaker. It's 5-4 for the Nats, all they need. In the top of the 9th, Kuhn fouls out with Fox on second and Mantle on tap, but the switcher never gets to bat. The ball game is over. The National League's 11th triumph in 26 All-Star Classics.
And take a look at this roster here. You don't see Roberto Clemente's name on there. He did not play. He was not on that team. I don't remember why, if he was hurt, but he wasn't on the team. Somewhere down there on the bottom of that list is a guy named Joe Cunningham, who played right field. It was on there as a right fielder, but Clemente was not there. I don't know what happened with that. Speaking of Clemente, he did play in the 1971 All-Star game, and take a look at what he did here. This is in Detroit. There were a bunch of big home runs hit in this game, but I want you to watch what is not a trot after he hits his home run. This is not a home run trot. It's a sprint. Look at the difference between how this guy did it and how it's done today, where the guys take a half an hour to get around the plate, get around the bases and sky points. He not only almost sprints around the bases. Look at him. He keeps running almost all the way to the dugout. It's amazing. Now on to something else. Pants. I've been talking about this for a while, and I want you to hear what Barack Obama said back in 2013.
Brothers should pull up their pants.
Just pull up their pants.
You know, you're walking by your mother, your grandmother, and your underwear is showing. What's wrong with that? Come on. You don't have to pass a law, but that doesn't mean folks can't have some sense and respect for other people. And, you know, a lot of people may not want to see your underwear. I'm one of them.
And that brings me to this. This is in Memphis recently. These guys got to start pulling up their pants. This is one of the best I've ever seen. I don't know what this guy's being grabbed for. I don't care. 2 cops. They got the guy. Now look at the guy that they have. Look at his pants. They're barely staying up. They're down below his butt cheeks, okay? Now, you'll see the guy in the yellow pants? He needs a belt big time. His pants are falling down, but he's smart enough to stay out of it. He's staying back, but he's watching. Now the guy in the red shirt, check out his pants. Who does this? Who goes out of their house with their pants like this and then expects anybody to treat them like they deserve to be treated with any kind of respect, or that they have a brain, that they're not a moron? But look at the guy in the red. Here he goes. He's going down. And look at his pants. So, I don't know. Barack Obama said it back in 2013, and these guys, they're just not listening to him. They got to start paying attention because as I said at the time last week, this is not a small thing. Um, it's the black leadership needs to start telling these guys, and these guys that you just saw, they're not kids. They're grown men wearing their pants below their butt cheeks, and I there needs to be, as I said last week, billboards with Barack Obama and Al Sharpton and Maxine Waters and whoever else they can come up with among the black so-called leadership to tell these guys that they're setting the cause back maybe 50 years every time they show up in a video with their pants looking like that, and they are showing up all over the world looking like that. It's beyond moronic and embarrassing. And as Barack Obama said, brothers got to got to start pulling up their pants. Thanks for checking me out here on YouTube. I hope there's more than 25 of you who watched. We'll keep working on it and see how it goes. Thanks a lot.